You open your mouth and a thought becomes sound. Someone else understands you. That feels ordinary. But the real answer is far stranger. Before your ancestors had modern words, they were already connecting separate minds through eyes, hands, faces, and voices. So what did you inherit from the world before language? You cannot uncover the first conversation. Language leaves no fossil. Bones, tools, hearths, and markings can survive. But every ancient warning vanished when the air stopped moving. Researchers must rebuild the story from indirect clues. How can you recover something that disappeared the moment it happened? You begin with attention. One ancestor stared toward food, danger, or a safe path, and another followed that gaze. A hand could then point, invite, refuse, offer, or demonstrate, while posture revealed fear, confidence, or uncertainty. Meaning existed without grammar. How much could your ancestors say without one word? Context completed each signal. A pointing finger could mean food, danger, direction, or curiosity depending on what two people already understood together. Michael Tomasello and Hannes Moll call this shared intentionality, meaning that you recognize when another person shares your attention or goal. Human children reveal it when they point simply to inform someone or share interest. Could that cooperative impulse have prepared the foundation for language? Other apes also communicate intentionally. Primatologist Catherine Hobader has documented wild chimpanzees using many gestures to request movement, contact, grooming, or play. An ignored gesture may be repeated, enlarged, or replaced, showing that the sender has a goal. Yet these signals do not form the open-ended vocabulary and grammar that let you discuss yesterday or imagine tomorrow. Where does purposeful communication become language? Repeated signals could slowly become conventions. A grunt or syllable used during the same activity might gain an expected meaning until the group treated it like a symbol. In a 2008 experiment, Simon Kirby, Hannah Cornish, and Kenny Smith passed artificial communication systems through chains of learners. Random patterns gradually became simpler and more structured because each learner copied, repaired, and regularized them. Could language have organized itself across generations instead of being invented once? Combination made those symbols powerful. A small set of signals could produce many messages. Once order, rhythm, and emphasis began changing their meaning, patterns reduced memory demands and allowed listeners to predict how each part related to the others. Simple structure could gradually become grammar. Could the first grammar have started as a solution to forgetting? Tools created another pressure. A finished stone edge hides the grip, angle, force, and sequence needed to make it, so watching the result is not enough. In 2015, Thomas Morgan, Natalie Womany, Kevin Leyland, and their colleagues asked 184 adults to transmit Oldowan toolmaking through observation, gesture, teaching, or speech. Skills traveled most effectively when language was available. Could better teaching preserve better tools, while better tools rewarded better communication? Your ancestors then entered a feedback loop. Better cooperation improved teaching, better teaching preserved harder skills, and harder skills increased the value of precise communication. Knowledge began surviving the individual who discovered it because another mind could copy, improve, and transmit it. Culture gained a memory. Was language valuable because it allowed groups to remember? Symbols eventually freed meaning from the present. A sound could identify something absent, a gesture could recall a past event, and a mark or ornament could preserve shared significance. Archaeological pigments, engravings, and ornaments reveal later minds attaching meaning to material objects, although they cannot reveal exact conversations. Past and future had entered communication. How much richer was the invisible language that left no trace? You still use the older system. Your eyebrows change a sentence, your hands show shape and direction, and silence can communicate refusal. Text feels uncertain when tone, expression, rhythm, and shared context disappear. Words never replace the body that made them possible. Why does one familiar look sometimes say more than a paragraph? The world before language was not empty of meaning. Meaning stayed closer to bodies, immediate situations, repeated routines, and people who shared the same context. Countless acts of attention, imitation, vocal experimentation, correction, and teaching gradually formed systems that every generation inherited and changed. Language was probably never finished. Are you still reshaping it whenever you speak? You open your mouth, and millions of years of shared attention become sound.